Welcome back to This Day in Scottish History. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald. Today we step back to January 16th, 1707, a date forever etched into Scottish history as the day the Scottish Parliament agreed to the Treaty of Union with England. This momentous decision, passed by a vote of 110 to 67, laid the foundation for the formation of the Kingdom of Great Britain and marked the end of Scotland's independent parliament, a deeply controversial event both then and now. The journey to the Treaty of Union was fraught with tension, dissent, and, as many argue, economic desperation. The late 17th and early 18th centuries were challenging for Scotland. Failed harvests, trade disruptions, and the disastrous Darien Scheme, a failed attempt to establish a Scottish colony in Panama, had left the nation financially crippled. Many of Scotland's noble elite, who had invested heavily in the Darien venture, faced ruin and looked to England for a solution. Meanwhile, England was eager to secure its northern border and prevent any future Scottish alliance with France, a significant concern during the War of the Spanish Succession. These factors combined to create an environment where negotiations for union began in earnest. The Scottish Parliament deliberated on the treaty through heated debates. Public unrest brewed across the nation, with anti-union demonstrations erupting in cities like Edinburgh and Glasgow. Protesters viewed the union as a betrayal of Scottish sovereignty, fearing the loss of their parliament, culture, and independence. Pamphlets circulated lambasting the treaty, and angry crowds gathered outside the parliament. Despite the protests, many within the parliamentary chambers argued that the treaty was a necessary sacrifice for Scotland's survival. Proponents highlighted provisions that would address the nation's economic woes, such as a payment of £398,085, known as the equivalent, to offset Scotland's debts and compensate investors in the Darien Scheme. Opponents, however, decried what they saw as blatant bribery, claiming that English gold had swayed key votes. The treaty consisted of 25 articles addressing matters such as the creation of a single British Parliament, the unification of trade and currency, and the establishment of the Protestant succession. It also promised certain protections for Scotland, including the continuation of Scots law, the Presbyterian Church, and the separate education system. One of the most contentious aspects of the Union's passage was the allegation that many of Scotland's political elites had been bribed. Historical records suggest that English negotiators offered monetary rewards and lucrative positions to Scottish MPs who supported the treaty. While definitive proof remains elusive, the whispers of corruption have lingered, casting a shadow over the legitimacy of the treaty. On May 1st, 1707, the Acts of Union came into effect, uniting the Kingdom of Scotland and the Kingdom of England into the Kingdom of Great Britain. The immediate effects were mixed. While some Scots benefited from expanded trade opportunities within the Empire, many ordinary citizens felt disenfranchised and resentful. Anti-union sentiment persisted for decades, influencing Scottish politics and culture. Today, the Treaty of Union remains a deeply polarising topic. For some, it represents a pragmatic decision that enables Scotland to thrive within a larger political and economic framework. For others, it signifies a tragic loss of sovereignty and the beginning of centuries of marginalisation. Regardless of where one stands, the events of January 16th, 1707 continue to resonate, shaping debates about Scotland's place within the United Kingdom. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Scotland's past. Remember to tune in tomorrow for another fascinating journey through history on This Day in Scottish History. I'm Colin MacDonald, and as always, haste you back.